Hey there, Galley Gourmet here. So today we're going to be making the best steak marinade ever. This is extremely easy to do. You actually marinate it in a Ziploc baggie, and it has these ingredients, which might look like a little bit, but they're really going to be super easy to pull together. You put it in, marinate it with your steak, either in the morning or the night before. You can do it a couple hours ahead of time, but I really prefer to actually do it with at least 4 to 6 hours ahead of time, and if you can do more than that, sweet. So the ingredients within this marinade, we've got olive oil, soy sauce, so the salt there, a little bit of Worcestershire, so a little bit of that undercurrent of umami going on, pepper, and a teensy bit more salt. You have to be careful about that though, because we do have the soy sauce in here. And then we also have a lot of like powdered ingredients. So we've got, I have mustard seeds. I could not find mustard powder down here in the Caribbean. However, mustard seeds, if you just smash them a little bit, they'll still add a lot of flavor. But if you can get some mustard powder, that's probably the best to do, and that's usually what I do when I'm home. Ginger powder, awesome. So what's going to be nice is there's going to be a contrast between the salt of the soy sauce and then kind of that freshness of the ginger, which is really nice contrast. We've got some garlic powder, and then also onion powder, and a little bit of thyme. And that's pretty much it. That's your whole marinade there. So might look like a lot of ingredients, but it's actually really easy to throw together. And the nice thing about using a Ziploc bag is that you don't have another dish to do, which is pretty sweet. So typically what I'll do, and I'm going to do a flank steak tonight. I'm going to do one. You can increase this recipe if you want to do more, obviously, for a crowd or just 2 of us on the boat right now, and so I just need one, but if you want to do more, then you can just double the recipe. Alright, so we're going to do about a 1/4 cup of olive oil, about 1/8 of a cup of soy sauce, so about half that of the olive oil. And soy sauce, again, it's strong, but this is going to be a marinade. You are going to baste the steak a little bit while it's grilling, or at least I recommend that you do that. But at the same time, it's not like this is going to be a sauce, it's just the marinade, so you like that strong flavor in there. Alright, Worcestershire. Some people, for some reason, just don't like Worcestershire. If you don't want to put it in, don't put it in. I'll typically put in 1 to 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire, so that's about it for that. Because it is a pretty strong flavor, but I like, you can't even, I think you can't necessarily taste that it's in there, but there are certain people who just, they have a taste for it and don't like it, so it's up to you. Now I'm going to put in some pepper. I would say, depending on your steak and how much you're going to be doing, you know, probably 1 to 2 teaspoons of pepper per steak. This guy takes a while to do. It's like a really fine grind, and I'm not sure how to change it. Alright. And then I'm just going to put a little bit more salt in here. Not too much. And honestly, you can actually do this after you marinate it and just do it directly on your steak. But the one thing with steak is you want to make sure it's flavored well. So pepper, salt are obviously the key ingredients, but you can see here we have this whole mix of awesome ingredients that are just going to be getting into the steak outsides and hopefully getting into the insides if it marinates longer. So I'm just going to take all of these guys and literally dump them into my marinade here. And it's funny, I used to actually put my steak in first and then shove everything in afterwards, which is so silly because if you actually do this ahead of time, before you put the steak in, you can really actually get it all mixing up. So you can see here, it's mixing really well. You just want to give it a swoosh here. Right. And that's it. So that took me maybe 2 minutes, right? I mean, obviously it takes you some time to get the ingredients together. Now I am putting in a skirt steak tonight. And you have to kind of talk to your local butcher about what steak you want to use, because they're going to be able to tell you the right steak for you. This is an extremely simple marinade. We're going to let this marinate for a few hours, and then we are actually going to go to the grill and cook it up. So stay tuned. Alright, so we are ready to grill. We have a tiny little grill on the boat, and it is a charcoal grill, but you can definitely use a gas grill for this too. with a steak, you have to look at how thin or how thick your steak is to know what temperature to put it on. You can always start it on a hot temperature, but for a thicker steak, it's going to take longer. You don't want the sides to burn, and so you'll have to move it to temperature on the grill that's a little bit less than that. So this is actually a pretty thin steak, as you can see, so we're just going to put it on the hot side of the grill. And whatever you have, if it's a gas grill or a charcoal, you can have a hot side of the grill or a cold side of the grill, or you can keep everything the same. So right now I have, this is the hot side of the grill, and then so it means I have all the charcoal on this side of the grill. And then I actually just have some tin foil on the other side of the grill to make sure the charcoal doesn't move around. So I'm going to start the steak on the hot side of the grill. I'm going to give it a couple minutes on each side. Again, this is such a thin steak that it's not going to take long to do, and I typically err on the side of doing it less versus doing it more, because you can always cook it more, but you can't cook it less. So if you're not sure, cut into it a little bit. You know, no one is perfect in terms of grilling steaks. Everyone says, oh, you can push on here and push on here, but you know, honestly, it's easy to just take a little bit of a cut and see how it's doing, and then you can always throw it back on. So we'll give this a minute, and then we're going to come back in a few minutes and take a look at it. Alright, so our steak has been going for several minutes. You can see it here. We've got it on one side, and it is on the hot side of the grill. You can see I've got all the coals on this side, and this is the side that doesn't have anything on it. With this steak, we're gonna, since it's thin, we're gonna keep it on that hot side. And look at that, you can see the caramelization there. That is called the Maillard reaction, and that's basically where the sugars and the protein, they caramelize. And that's where all your flavor comes with steak. So you always wanna try to get that, and it's just that balance of finding the right heat there. So we're gonna shut this grill down again, and then we're gonna give it a few minutes, and we'll be done in just a couple. Alright, so this guy's been resting a few minutes, and I just started cutting into it, and it looks perfect. So there's still juices coming out, which we're going to put on top. We let it rest for about 5 minutes, so the juices did redistribute there. And you can see here that it's the perfect medium rare. Oh my gosh, it just looks awesome. So, gotta give it a try, obviously, before we give it up. It's great. So the soy sauce gives this wonderful salty umami flavor to it, but the ginger really elevates it in terms of freshness as well. It was a big bite there. All the ingredients really come together. I hope you try the recipe and the marinade and let me know how it goes.